earning method in this video again. The link of the website is below on description of this video. I highly recommend to use this link. Let's quickly get to know about website and how it works. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency without a central bank or single administrator that can be sent from user to user on the peer-to-peer Bitcoin network without the need for intermediaries. Transactions are verified by network nodes through cryptography and recorded in a public distributed ledger called a blockchain. The cryptocurrency was invented in 2008 by an unknown person or group of people using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. The currency began use in 2009 when its implementation was released as open-source software. Bitcoins are created as a reward for a process known as mining. They can be exchanged for other currencies, products, and services. Bitcoin has been criticized for its use in illegal transactions, the large amount of electricity and thus carbon footprint used by mining, price volatility, and thefts from exchanges. Some investors and economists have characterized it as a speculative bubble at various times. Others have used it as an investment, although several regulatory agencies have issued investor alerts about Bitcoin. In September 2021, El Salvador officially adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, becoming the first nation to do so. The word Bitcoin was defined in a white paper published on October 31, 2008. It is a compound of the words bit and coin. No uniform convention for Bitcoin capitalization exists. Some sources use Bitcoin capitalized to refer to the technology and network and Bitcoin lowercase for the unit of account. The Wall Street Journal, the Chronicle of Higher Education, and the Oxford English Dictionary advocate the use of lowercase Bitcoin in all cases. Design, units, and divisibility. The unit of account of the Bitcoin system is the Bitcoin. Currency codes for representing Bitcoin are BTC and XBT. Its Unicode character is 1. Bitcoin is divisible to 8 decimal places. 5 units for smaller amounts of Bitcoin are the millibitcoin, MBTC equal to 1/1000 Bitcoin, and the Satoshi Sat, which is the smallest possible division, and named in homage to Bitcoin's creator, representing 1/100,000,000th Bitcoin. 100,000 Satoshis are 1 MBTC. Blockchain. Data structure of blocks in the ledger. Number of Bitcoin transactions per month, semi-logarithmic plot. Number of unspent transaction outputs. The Bitcoin blockchain is a public ledger that records Bitcoin transactions. It is implemented as a chain of blocks, each block containing a hash of the previous block up to the genesis block in the chain. A network of communicating nodes running Bitcoin software maintains the blockchain. 215,219 transactions of the form pair X sends Y bitcoins to pay Z are broadcast to this network using readily available software applications. Network nodes can validate transactions, add them to their copy of the ledger, and then broadcast these ledger additions to other nodes. To achieve independent verification of the chain of ownership, each network node stores its own copy of the blockchain. At varying intervals of time averaging to every 10 minutes, a new group of accepted transactions, called a block, is created, added to the blockchain, and quickly published to all nodes without requiring central oversight. This allows Bitcoin software to determine when a particular Bitcoin was spent, which is needed to prevent double spending. A conventional ledger records the transfers of actual bills or promissory notes that exist apart from it, but the blockchain is the only place that Bitcoins can be said to exist in the form of unspent outputs of transactions. Individual blocks, public addresses, and transactions within blocks can be examined using a blockchain explorer citation needed. Sorry for interruption. This is our next earning method video. Please give us your support by subscribing to our channel, giving review by dislike, or like and commenting your thoughts and questions. Transactions. See also, Bitcoin network. Transactions are defined using a Forth-like scripting language. Transactions consist of one or more inputs and one or more outputs. When a user sends Bitcoins, the user designates each address and the amount of Bitcoin being sent to that address in an output. To prevent double spending, each input must refer to a previous unspent output in the blockchain. The use of multiple inputs corresponds to the use of multiple coins in a cash transaction. Since transactions can have multiple outputs, Users can send bitcoins to multiple recipients in one transaction. As in a cash transaction, the sum of inputs, coins used to pay can exceed the intended sum of payments. In such a case, an additional output is used, returning the change back to the payer. Any input satoshis not accounted for in the transaction outputs become the transaction fee. Though transaction fees are optional, miners can choose which transactions to process and prioritize those that pay higher fees. Miners may choose transactions based on the fee paid relative to their storage size, not the absolute amount of money paid as a fee. These fees are generally measured in satoshis per byte sat/b. The size of transactions is dependent on the number of inputs used to create the transaction and the number of outputs. The blocks in the blockchain were originally limited to 32 megabytes in size. The block size limit of 1 megabyte was introduced by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2010. Eventually, the block size limit of 1 megabyte created problems for transaction processing, such as increasing transaction fees and delayed processing of transactions. Andreas Antonopoulos has stated Lightning Network is a potential scaling solution and referred to Lightning as a second-layer routing network. Ownership. Simplified chain of ownership as illustrated in the Bitcoin white paper. In practice, a transaction can have more than one input and more than one output. In the blockchain, bitcoins are registered to Bitcoin addresses. Creating a Bitcoin address requires nothing more than picking a random valid private key and computing the corresponding Bitcoin address. This computation can be done in a split second. But the reverse, computing the private key of a given Bitcoin address, is practically unfeasible. Users can tell others or make public a Bitcoin address without compromising its corresponding private key. Moreover, the number of valid private keys is so vast that it is extremely unlikely someone will compute a key pair that is already in use and has funds. The vast number of valid private keys makes it unfeasible that brute force could be used to compromise a private key. To be able to spend their bitcoins, the owner must know the corresponding private key and digitally sign the transaction. The network verifies the signature using the public key. The private key is never revealed. If the private key is lost, the Bitcoin network will not recognize any other evidence of ownership. The coins are then unusable and effectively lost. For example, in 2013, one user claimed to have lost 7,500 bitcoins, worth $7.5 million at the time, when he accidentally discarded a hard drive containing his private key. About 20% of all bitcoins are believed to be lost. They would have had a market value of about $20 billion at July 2018 prices. To ensure the security of bitcoins, the private key must be kept secret. If the private key is revealed to a third party, e.g. through a data breach, the third party can use it to steal any associated bitcoins. As of December 2017, around 980,000 bitcoins have been stolen from cryptocurrency exchanges. Regarding ownership distribution, as of March 16, 2018, 0.5% of Bitcoin wallets own 87% of all Bitcoins ever mined. Mining. See also, Bitcoin Network section. Mining. Early Bitcoin miners used GPUs for mining, as they were better suited to the proof-of-work algorithm than CPUs. Later, amateurs mined Bitcoins with specialized FPGA and ASIC chips. The chips pictured have become obsolete due to increasing difficulty. Today, Bitcoin mining companies dedicate facilities to housing and operating large amounts of high-performance mining hardware. Semi-log plot of relative mining difficulty. Mining is a record-keeping service done through the use of computer processing power. Miners keep the blockchain consistent, complete, and unalterable by repeatedly grouping newly broadcast transactions into a block, which is then broadcast to the network and verified by recipient nodes. Each block contains a SHA-256 cryptographic hash of the previous block, thus linking it to the previous block and giving the blockchain its name. To be accepted by the rest of the network, a new block must contain a proof-of-work POW. The POW requires miners to find a number called a nonce, number used once, such that when the block content is hashed along with the nonce, the result is numerically smaller than the network's difficulty target. This proof is easy for any node in the network to verify. but extremely time-consuming to generate. As for a secure cryptographic hash, miners must try many different nonce values. Usually the sequence of tested values is the ascending natural numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. Before a result happens to be less than the difficulty target. Because the difficulty target is extremely small compared to a typical SHA-256 hash, block hashes have many leading zeros, as can be seen in this example block hash. 590 FC0 F3 EBA 193 A 278,534,220 B2 B37 times 10 to the power of 9,849 E1 A 770 Ka 959. By adjusting this difficulty target, the amount of work needed to generate a block can be changed. Every 2016 blocks, approximately 14 days given roughly 10 minutes per block. Nodes deterministically adjust the difficulty target based on the recent rate of block generation, with the aim of keeping the average time between new blocks at 10 minutes. In this way, the system automatically adapts to the total amount of mining power on the network. As of September 2021, it takes on average 79 sextillion 79,000 billion attempts to generate a block hash smaller than the difficulty target. Computations of this magnitude are extremely expensive and utilize specialized hardware. The proof-of-work system, alongside the chaining of blocks, makes modifications of the blockchain extremely hard, as an attacker must modify all subsequent blocks in order for the modifications of one block to be accepted. As new blocks are mined all the time, the difficulty of modifying a block increases as time passes, and the number of subsequent blocks, also called confirmations of the given block, increases. Computing power is often bundled together by a mining pool to reduce variance in miner income. Individual mining rigs often have to wait for long periods to confirm a block of transactions and receive payment. In a pool, all participating miners get paid every time a participating server solves a block. This payment depends on the amount of work an individual miner contributed to help find that block. Supply. Total bitcoins in circulation. The successful miner finding the new block is allowed by the rest of the network to collect for themselves all transaction fees from transactions they included in the block, as well as a predetermined reward of newly created bitcoins. As of May 11, 2020, this reward is currently 6.25 newly created bitcoins per block. To claim this reward, a special transaction called a Coinbase is included in the block, with the miner as the pay 6ch. All bitcoins in existence have been created through this type of transaction. The Bitcoin protocol specifies that the reward for adding a block will be reduced by half every 210,000 blocks, approximately every 4 years. Eventually, the reward will round down to zero, and the limit of 21 million bitcoins will be reached. C 2140. The record keeping will then be rewarded by transaction fees only. Decentralization. Bitcoin is decentralized, thus, Bitcoin does not have a central authority. The Bitcoin network is peer-to-peer without central servers. The network also has no central storage. The Bitcoin ledger is distributed. The ledger is public, anybody can store it on a computer. There is no single administrator. The ledger is maintained by a network of equally privileged miners. Anyone can become a miner. The additions to the ledger are maintained through competition. Until a new block is added to the ledger, it is not known which miner will create the block. The issuance of bitcoins is decentralized. They are issued as a reward for the creation of a new block. Anybody can create a new Bitcoin address, a Bitcoin counterpart of a bank account, without needing any approval. Anybody can send a transaction to the network without needing any approval. The network merely confirms that the transaction is legitimate. Conversely, researchers have pointed out a trend towards centralization. Although Bitcoin can be sent directly from user to user, in practice intermediaries are widely used. 222 Bitcoin miners join large mining pools to minimize the variance of their income. 219 to 222 Because transactions on the network are confirmed by miners, decentralization of the network requires that no single miner or mining pool obtains 51% of the hashing power, which would allow them to double spend coins, prevent certain transactions from being verified, and prevent other miners from earning income. As of 2013, just 6 mining pools controlled 75% of overall Bitcoin hashing power. In 2014, mining pool Gash.io obtained 51% hashing power, which raised significant controversies about the safety of the network. The pool has voluntarily capped their hashing power at 39.99% and requested other pools to act responsibly for the benefit of the whole network. Around the year 2017, over 70% of the hashing power and 90% of transactions were operating from China. According to researchers, other parts of the ecosystem are also controlled by a small set of entities, notably the maintenance of the client software, online wallets, and simplified payment verification (SPV) clients. Sorry for interruption. This is our next earning method video. Please give us your support by subscribing to our channel, giving review by dislike, or like and commenting your thoughts and questions. Wallets. For broader coverage of this topic, see cryptocurrency wallet. Bitcoin Core, a full client. Electrum, a lightweight client. A wallet stores the information necessary to transact Bitcoins. While wallets are often described as a place to hold or store Bitcoins, due to the nature of the system, Bitcoins are inseparable from the blockchain transaction ledger. A wallet is more correctly defined as something that stores the digital credentials for your Bitcoin holdings, and allows one to access and spend them. Glossary: Bitcoin uses public key cryptography, in which 2 cryptographic keys, one public and one private, are generated. At its most basic, a wallet is a collection of these keys. Software wallets. The first wallet program, simply named Bitcoin and sometimes referred to as the Satoshi client, was released in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto as open source software. 10 in version 0.5, the client moved from the WXWidgets user interface toolkit to Qt, and the whole bundle was referred to as Bitcoin Qt. After the release of version 0.9, the software bundle was renamed Bitcoin Core to distinguish itself from the underlying network. Bitcoin Core is perhaps the best-known implementation or client. Alternative clients, forks of Bitcoin Core, exist, such as Bitcoin XD, Bitcoin Unlimited, and Parity Bitcoin. There are several modes which wallets can operate in. They have an inverse relationship with regards to trustlessness and computational requirements. Full clients verify transactions directly by downloading a full copy of the blockchain. Over 150 gigabytes as of January 2018. They are the most secure and reliable way of using the network, as trust in external parties is not required. Full clients check the validity of mined blocks, preventing them from transacting on a chain that breaks or alters network rules because of its size and complexity. Downloading and verifying the entire blockchain is not suitable for all computing devices. Lightweight clients consult full nodes to send and receive transactions without requiring a local copy of the entire blockchain. See Simplified Payment Verification (SPV). This makes lightweight clients much faster to set up and allows them to be used on low-power, low-bandwidth devices such as smartphones. When using a lightweight wallet, however, the user must trust full nodes, as it can report faulty values back to the user. Lightweight clients follow the longest blockchain and do not ensure it is valid, requiring trust in full nodes. Third-party internet services called online wallets or web wallets offer similar functionality, but may be easier to use. In this case, credentials to access funds are stored with the online wallet provider rather than on the user's hardware. As a result, the user must have complete trust in the online wallet provider. A malicious provider, or a breach in server security, may cause entrusted Bitcoins to be stolen. An example of such a security breach occurred with Mt. Gox in 2011. Cold storage. A paper wallet with a banknote-like design. Both the private key and the address are visible in text form and as 2D barcodes. A paper wallet with the address visible for adding or checking stored funds. The part of the page containing the private key is folded over and sealed. A brass token with a private key hidden beneath a tamper-evident security hologram. A part of the address is visible through a transparent part of the hologram. A hardware wallet peripheral which processes Bitcoin payments without exposing any credentials to the computer. Wallet software is targeted by hackers because of the lucrative potential for stealing Bitcoins. A technique called cold storage keeps private keys out of reach of hackers. This is accomplished by keeping private keys offline at all times by generating them on a device that is not connected to the internet. The credentials necessary to spend bitcoins can be stored offline in a number of different ways, from specialized hardware wallets to simple paper printouts of the private key. Hardware wallets. A hardware wallet is a computer peripheral that signs transactions as requested by the user. These devices store private keys and carry out signing and encryption internally and do not share any sensitive information with the host computer except already signed, and thus unalterable transactions. Because hardware wallets never expose their private keys, even computers that may be compromised by malware do not have a vector to access or steal them. The user sets a passcode when setting up a hardware wallet. As hardware wallets are tamper-resistant, the passcode will be needed to extract any money. Paper wallets. A paper wallet is created with a key pair generated on a computer with no internet connection. The private key is written or printed onto the paper, and then erased from the computer. The paper wallet can then be stored in a safe physical location for later retrieval. Physical wallets can also take the form of metal token coins with a private key accessible under a security hologram in a recess struck on the reverse side. The security hologram self-destructs when removed from the token, showing that the private key has been accessed. Originally, these tokens were struck in brass and other base metals, but later used precious metals as Bitcoin grew in value and popularity. Coins with stored face value as high as 1,000 have been struck in gold. The British Museum's coin collection includes 4 specimens from the earliest series of funded Bitcoin tokens. One is currently on display in the museum's money gallery. In 2013, a Utah manufacturer of these tokens was ordered by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, to register as a money services business before producing any more funded Bitcoin tokens. History. Main article: History of Bitcoin. Bitcoin logos made by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009 left and 2010 right to depict Bitcoins as gold tokens. The domain name bitcoin.org was registered on August 18, 2008. On October 31, 2008, a link to a paper authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was posted to a cryptography mailing list. Nakamoto implemented the Bitcoin software as open source code and released it in January 2009. Nakamoto's identity remains unknown. On January 3, 2009, the Bitcoin network was created when Nakamoto mined the starting block of the chain, known as the Genesis block. Embedded in the Coinbase of this block was the text "The Times 03/Jan/2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." This note references a headline published by The Times and has been interpreted as both a timestamp and a comment on the instability caused by fractional reserve banking. The receiver of the first Bitcoin transaction was Hal Finney, who had created the first reusable proof of work system (RPOW) in 2004. Finney downloaded the Bitcoin software on its release date, and on January 12, 2009 received 10 Bitcoins from Nakamoto. Other early cypherpunk supporters were creators of Bitcoin predecessors, Wei Dai, creator of B-Money, and Nick Szabo, creator of BitGold. In 2010, the first known commercial transaction using Bitcoin occurred when programmer Laszlo Hanix bought 2 Papa John's pizzas for $10,000 from Jeremy Sturdivant. Blockchain analysts estimate that Nakamoto had mined about 1 million bitcoins before disappearing in 2010 when he handed the network alert key and control of the code repository over to Gavin Andreessen. Andreessen later became lead developer at the Bitcoin Foundation. Andreessen then sought to decentralize control. This left opportunity for controversy to develop over the future development path of Bitcoin, in contrast to the perceived authority of Nakamoto's contributions. 2011 to 2012. After early proof-of-concept transactions, the first major users of Bitcoin were black markets, such as Silk Road. During its 30 months of existence, beginning in February 2011, Silk Road exclusively accepted Bitcoins as payment, transacting 9.9 million in Bitcoins, worth about $214 million. In 2011, the price started at 30 cents per Bitcoin, growing to $5.27 for the year. The price rose to $31.50 on June 8. Within a month, the price fell to $11. The next month it fell to $7.80, and in another month to $4.77. In 2012, Bitcoin prices started at $5.27, growing to $13.30 for the year. By January 9 the price had risen to $7.38, but then crashed by 49% to $3.80 over the next 16 days. The price then rose to $16.41 on August 17, but fell by 57% to $7.10 over the next 3 days. The Bitcoin Foundation was founded in September 2012 to promote Bitcoin's development and uptake. On November 1, 2011, the reference implementation Bitcoin Qt version 0.5.0 was released. It introduced a front end that used the Qt user interface toolkit. The software previously used Berkeley DB for database management. Developers switched to Level B in Release 0.8 in order to reduce blockchain synchronization time. Citation needed. The update to this release resulted in a minor blockchain fork on March 11, 2013. The fork was resolved shortly afterwards. Seeding nodes through IRC was discontinued in version 0.8.2. From version 0.9.0 the software was renamed the Bitcoin Core. Transaction fees were reduced again by a factor of 10 as a means to encourage microtransactions. Although Bitcoin Core does not use OpenSSL for the operation of the network, the software did use OpenSSL for remote procedure calls. Version 0.9.1 was released to remove the network's vulnerability to the Heartbleed bug. 2013 to 2016. In 2013, prices started at $13.30, rising to $770 by January 1, 2014. In March 2013, the blockchain temporarily split into two independent chains with different rules due to a bug in version 0.8 of the Bitcoin software. The two blockchains operated simultaneously for 6 hours, each with its own version of the transaction history from the moment of the split. Normal operation was restored when the majority of the network downgraded to version 0.7 of the Bitcoin software, selecting the backwards compatible version of the blockchain. As a result, this blockchain became the longest chain and could be accepted by all participants, regardless of their Bitcoin software version. During the split, the Mt. Gox exchange briefly halted Bitcoin deposits and the price dropped by 23% to $37 before recovering to the previous level of approximately $48 in the following hours. The U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network (FinCEN) established regulatory guidelines for decentralized virtual currencies such as Bitcoin, classifying American Bitcoin miners who sell their generated Bitcoins as money service businesses (MSBS) that are subject to registration or other legal obligations. In April, exchanges Bitinstant and Mt. Gox experienced processing delays due to insufficient capacity, resulting in the Bitcoin price dropping from $266 to $76 before returning to $160 within 6 hours. The Bitcoin price rose to $259 on April 10, but then crashed by 83% to $45 over the next 3 days. On May 15, 2013, U.S. authorities seized accounts associated with Mt. Gox after discovering it had not registered as a money transmitter with FinCEN in the U.S. On June 23, 2013, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration listed 11.02 as a seized asset in the United States Department of Justice seizure notice pursuant to 21 U.S.C. Section 881. This marked the first time a government agency had seized Bitcoin. The FBI seized about 30,000 in October 2013 from the dark web website Silk Road following the arrest of Ross William Ulbricht. These bitcoins were sold at blind auction by the United States Marshals Service to venture capital investor Tim Draper. Bitcoin's price rose to $755 on November 19 and crashed by 50% to $378 the same day. On November 30, 2013, the price reached $1,163 before starting a long-term crash, declining by 87% to $152 in January 2015. On December 5, 2013, the People's Bank of China prohibited Chinese financial institutions from using bitcoins. After the announcement, the value of bitcoins dropped and Baidu no longer accepted bitcoins for certain services. Buying real-world goods with any virtual currency had been illegal in China since at least 2009. In 2014, prices started at $770 and fell to $314 for the year. On July 30, 2014, the Wikimedia Foundation started accepting donations of Bitcoin. In 2015, prices started at $314 and rose to $434 for the year. In 2016, prices rose and climbed up to $998 by January 1, 2017. Release 0.10 of the software was made public on February 16, 2015. It introduced a consensus library which gave programmers easy access to the rules governing consensus on the network. In version 0.11.2, developers added a new feature which allowed transactions to be made unspendable until a specific time in the future. Bitcoin Core 0.12.1 was released on April 15, 2016, and enabled multiple soft forks to occur concurrently. Around 100 contributors worked on Bitcoin Core 0.13.0, which was released on August 23, 2016. In July 2016, the check sequence Verify soft fork activated. In October 2016, Bitcoin Core 0.13.1 release featured the SegWit soft fork that included a scaling improvement aiming to optimize the Bitcoin block size. The patch, which was originally finalized in April, and 35 developers were engaged to deploy it. This release featured segregated witness SegWit, which aimed to place downward pressure on transaction fees as well as increase the maximum transaction capacity of the network. The 0.13.1 release endured extensive testing and research, leading to some delays in its release date. SegWit prevents various forms of transaction malleability. Sorry for interruption. This is our next earning method video. Please give us your support by subscribing to our channel, giving review by dislike, or like and commenting your thoughts and questions. 2017 to 2019. Research produced by the University of Cambridge estimates 2017, there were 2.9 to 5.8 million unique users using a cryptocurrency wallet, most of them using Bitcoin. On July 15, 2017, the controversial segregated witness software upgrade was approved locked-in. SegWit was intended to support the Lightning Network as well as improve scalability. SegWit was subsequently activated on the network on August 24, 2017. The Bitcoin price rose almost 50% in the week following SegWit's approval. On July 21, 2017, Bitcoin was trading at $2,748, up 52% from July 14, 2017's $1,835. Supporters of large blocks who were dissatisfied with the activation of SegWit forked the software on August 1, 2017 to create Bitcoin Cash, becoming one of many forks of Bitcoin such as Bitcoin Gold. Prices started at $998 in 2017 and rose to $13,412.44 on January 1, 2018, after reaching its all-time high of $19,783.06 on December 17, 2017. China banned trading in Bitcoin, with first steps taken in September 2017, and a complete ban that started on February 1, 2018. Bitcoin prices then fell from $9,052 to $6,914 on February 5, 2018. The percentage of Bitcoin trading in the Chinese renminbi fell from over 90% in September 2017 to less than 1% in June 2018. Throughout the rest of the first half of 2018, Bitcoin's price fluctuated between $11,480 and $5,848. On July 1, 2018, Bitcoin's price was $6,343. The price on January 1, 2019 was $3,747, down 72% for 2018 and down 81% since the all-time high. In September 2018, an anonymous party discovered and reported an invalid block denial of server vulnerability to developers of Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin ABC, and Bitcoin Unlimited. Further analysis by Bitcoin developers showed the issue could also allow the creation of blocks violating the 21 million coin limit, and CEV 2018-17,144 was assigned and the issue resolved. Bitcoin prices were negatively affected by several hacks or thefts from cryptocurrency exchanges, including thefts from Coincheck in January 2018, Bithumb in June, and Banker in July. For the first 6 months of 2018, $761 million worth of cryptocurrencies was reported stolen from exchanges. Bitcoin's price was affected even though other cryptocurrencies were stolen at CoinRail and Banker, as investors worried about the security of cryptocurrency exchanges. In September 2019, the Intercontinental Exchange, the owner of the NYSE, began trading of Bitcoin futures on its exchange called BACT. BACT also announced that it would launch options on Bitcoin in December 2019. In December 2019, YouTube removed Bitcoin and cryptocurrency videos, but later restored the content after judging they had made the wrong call. In February 2019, Canadian cryptocurrency exchange Quadriga Fintech Solutions failed with approximately $200 million missing. By June 2019, the price had recovered to $13,000. 2020 to present. Bitcoin price. On March 13, 2020, Bitcoin fell below $4,000 during a broad market sell-off, after trading above $10,000 in February 2020. On March 11, 2020, 281,000 Bitcoins were sold, held by owners for only 30 days. This compared to 4,131 that had laid dormant for a year or more, indicating that the vast majority of the Bitcoin volatility on that day was from recent buyers. During the week of March 11, 2020, cryptocurrency exchange Kraken experienced an 83% increase in the number of account signups over the week of Bitcoin's price collapse, a result of buyers looking to capitalize on the low price. These events were attributed to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. In August 2020, MicroStrategy invested $250 million in Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. In October 2020, Square Incorporated placed approximately 1% of total assets, $50 million, in Bitcoin. In November 2020, PayPal announced that U.S. users could buy, hold, or sell Bitcoin. On November 30, 2020, the Bitcoin value reached a new all-time high of $19,860, topping the previous high of December 2017. Alexander Vinnik, founder of BTC, was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison for money laundering in France while refusing to testify during his trial. In December 2020, Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company announced a Bitcoin purchase of USD $100 million, or roughly 0.04% of its general investment account. On January 19, 2021, Elon Musk placed the handle #Bitcoin in his Twitter profile, tweeting, "In retrospect, it was inevitable," which caused the price to briefly rise about $5,000 in an hour to $37,299. On January 25, 2021, MicroStrategy announced that it continued to buy Bitcoin, and as of the same date it had holdings of 70,784 worth $2.38 billion. On February 8, 2021, Tesla's announcement of a Bitcoin purchase of USD $1.5 billion and the plan to start accepting Bitcoin as payment for vehicles pushed the Bitcoin price to $44,141. On February 18, 2021, Elon Musk stated that owning Bitcoin was only a little better than holding conventional cash, but that the slight difference made it a better asset to hold. After 49 days of accepting the digital currency, Tesla reversed course on May 12, 2021, saying they would no longer take Bitcoin due to concerns that mining the cryptocurrency was contributing to the consumption of fossil fuels and climate change. The decision resulted in the price of Bitcoin dropping around 12% on May 13 during a July Bitcoin conference. Musk suggested Tesla could possibly help Bitcoin miners switch to renewable energy in the future, and also stated at the same conference that if Bitcoin mining reaches and trends above 50% renewable energy usage, that Tesla would resume accepting Bitcoin. The price for Bitcoin rose after this announcement. In September 2020, the canton of Zug, Switzerland, announced to start to accepting tax payments in Bitcoin by February 2021. In June 2021, the Legislative Assembly of El Salvador voted legislation to make Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador. The law took effect on September 7. The implementation of the law has been met with protests and calls to make the currency optional, not compulsory. According to a survey by the Central American University, the majority of Salvadorans disagreed with using cryptocurrency as a legal tender, and a survey by the Center for Citizen Studies (CEC) showed that 91% of the country prefers the dollar over Bitcoin. As of October 2021, the country's government was exploring mining Bitcoin with geothermal power and issuing bonds tied to Bitcoin. Also in June, the Taproot network software upgrade was approved, adding support for SNIR signatures, improved functionality of smart contracts, and Lightning Network. The upgrade was installed in November. On October 16, 2021, the SEC approved the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, a cash-settled futures exchange-traded fund (ETF). The first Bitcoin ETF in the United States gained 5% on its first trading day on October 19, 2021. Thanks guys for watching. This was my next earning method, and by the way, subscribe to my channel. Good luck.